I have decided to go back with Cadillac 429 in the 67 Calais. I did a lot of measuring and checking, and I couldn't find a very easy way to fit the small block into it because of the drag link was in the way of the oil pan. So I got to looking at rebuilding the Cadillac engine, and I found on Marketplace a 429 from a 67 about 4 hours away, so I went and picked it up. The reason I went and picked it up is because it's already been machined and the man had all the parts. He just he had gotten rid of the car that he was going to put it in, so I ended up getting it for about half of the money that he had in the parts and the machine work. So since I've gotten it, I painted it, and I'm going to put the cam in it. I'm going to start assembling it. He has the ISKI cam for it. There's not a lot of aftermarket parts for these engines, but the ISKI cam supposedly corrected some of the, apparently the cam from the factory was cut in a way to make sure the engine was extremely smooth, not necessarily the most efficient at making power. So this ISKI cam, from what I understand, has a little bit of a better cut. I don't think it's going to make the engine sound choppy or anything like that. But it's the cam that he had bought already. So the engine, the cylinders have been honed. They did not need to be bored. This was a low mileage engine. Came out of a low mileage car, so they were honed by the machine shop. The crankshaft was polished and has 10 thousandths bearings, 10 thousandths over. So basically I've just been cleaning up the parts and painting them, as you can see here. And I'm going to start with the assembly of the engine, and the first thing I'm going to do is put the cam in it. So you got to lubricate both the cam bearings and the cam lobes. And the cam came with some engine assembly lube, but I also bought some. But for this purpose, I'm going to go ahead and use the one that came with the cam. So I'm going to lubricate all the cam bearings with the lube that came with the cam. This is the very first thing I'm doing on the assembly of the engine. And from what I understand in the videos I've watched, I know one big reason is you wouldn't be able to get through this area after the crankshaft's installed. So I'm going to lubricate both the cam, the areas that ride on the bearings, and the lobes, because at some point I'll be putting the lifters in and the lobes need to be lubricated too. Like I said, this is the brand new ISKI cam for this engine. I'm I'm glad he already had all these parts bought, because I was searching for them, and everything that I can find is expensive, and just rebuilding a Cadillac engine. I rebuilt a small block Chevrolet 283 years ago, but it's been quite a while, so I'm watching a lot of videos and learning as I'm doing this also. Doing a lot of reading. I couldn't find a video that had the 429 in it, so I figured I would go ahead and make one as I'm going. Hopefully it all goes smoothly and I don't do anything wrong with it. So you got to be super careful when you're sliding the cam in. You don't want to drag any of the lobes over the bearings. It doesn't take much to scar them. So it's really handy to be able to do this without the crankshaft in. Alright, so it's all the way in. Spins freely. Went ahead and lubricated the area that the fuel pump's gonna be riding on also. So that was pretty simple for the cam install. So next we've got the rear main seal. And it's in 2 halves, and there's a side that's beveled that needs to face inward so to keep the oil from coming out. And either side is interchangeable according to the assembly manual. You want it to be down flush or it could cause a leak. Before you actually install it, you put a little bit of a gasket sealer in between the gap there, being careful not to get it inside the touching the actual seal. That's pretty much it on the rear main seal. So now we got to put the bearings in here. And the bearings have holes in them that have to line up with the hole that's in the block for the oil passage. And they also have notches that align with notches that are in the block. It'd be very difficult to put the wrong one in the wrong spot. Well, I say that, and I almost put the wrong one in the wrong spot. Luckily, it will not fit. So the one with the edges here can only fit in this middle one. Won't fit anywhere else. It makes it pretty easy to tell where it goes. It has 2 holes in it. So does the block. For the top half, you only really have to worry about the groove that the bearing sits in. That's the only thing you can really get wrong there. So it goes in there fairly smoothly, easy. All passages line up good. Some of these are wider than others. There's one narrow one.